Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and join us for our third chapter of our audio plays for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. We are very excited to finish off Wholesome November with this audio play. It's been an exciting month of wholesomeness, appreciation, and giving thanks to the people that mean the most to us. And of course, we wouldn't be able to do any of that without the world of Harry Potter that we're all so very fond of. So, we are going to go ahead and get things started. Let me give you guys a rundown of who all is here for our cast in case you do not know. Bear with me as I just pull them up. Playing Harry Potter and reprising his role, we have Mystery Fields. A huge round of applause and welcome back, Mystery Fields. Also reprising their role, we have Small Leaf, aka Little Elf, reprising their role of Ron Weasley. Thank you so much. Welcome back. And we also have joining us again is our fantastic prefect and Chancla master, Yazzie. And this time she will be playing Madam Hooch. We have Hermione Granger being played by Micro. McGonagall will be played by Mari. Snape will be played by Tanakin. Flitwick, Peeves, and Quirrell, I know it sounds pretty ambitious, are all being done by Faye, aka Boggart. And we have Nearly Headless Nick being played by Bellissima. Taryn will be playing Seamus for us. Finn, we're so glad, is also rejoining our cast, and this time will be playing Oliver Wood. Welcome back, Finn. We have Silver Haze, or Silver Bells, playing the Pink Lady, Neville, and Filch. I know, also very ambitious. Fred Weasley and George Weasley will be played by the dynamic duo Amanda Panda and Spudicus Maximus. Percy Weasley will be played by Ruby, and Draco Malfoy will be played by Angelica. This chapter will be narrated by me, so you guys have to listen to me all day. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, we are so excited to get this started, you guys. And we are going to roll back the curtains, and a roar erupts from the Gryffindor table. Harry stands shakily and walks to his table, where Percy, the Weasley twins, and Hermione all welcome him. At the high table, Dumbledore lifts his goblet and, meeting Harry's eyes, nods. Freshly sorted and seated, the Gryffindor first years watch in amazement as the empty plates before them suddenly fill with food. There's roast beef, chicken, pork chops, lamb chops, sausages, bacon, and steak, the feast of all feasts. Harry listens as a rather wild looking boy named Seamus talks to another student, Dean Thomas.
I'm half and half. Dad's a muggle, Mam's a witch. Bit of a nasty shock for him when he found out.
As Percy leans over to pour a strange liquid into Harry's goblet, Harry nods to the high table to Professor Snape.
Say, Percy, who's that teacher talking to Professor Quirrell?
Oh, Professor Snape, head of Slytherin House.
What's he teach?
Oceans. But everyone knows it's a dark arts fancy. Been after Quirrell's job for years.
Just then, several students shriek as a volley of into the hall overhead, and one swoops down.
Hello, Sir Nicholas. Have a nice summer.
This small, but with the Slytherins winning the House Cup 6 years in a row, the bloody bands become unbearable.
Nick nods his head in the direction of the Slytherin table, where a horrific, blood-stained ghost hovers imperiously.
Then again, he's always been unbearable.
I know you. You're Nearly Headless Nick.
I prefer Sir Nicholas, if you don't mind.
Nearly headless? How can you be nearly headless?
Like this.
Seizing himself by the left ear, Nick swings his entire head off his neck and onto his shoulder as if it were on a hinge.
I think I'm done eating.
Just then, Dumbledore rises at the high table.
If I may, I have a few start of term notices to announce. First years should note that the Dark Forest is strictly forbidden to all pupils. Also, our caretaker, Mr. Filch, has asked me to remind you that
Filch, a sour-looking man, stands near a side exit while Mrs. Norris, a cat with glittering red eyes, sits by his feet.
no magic should be used between classes in the corridors. And finally, please note that this year, the third floor corridor on the right-hand side is out of bounds to everyone who does not wish to die a most painful death.
Hearing this, Ron stops chewing for the first time and glances at Harry, but before either of them can speak,
School song. Everyone pick their favorite tune and off we go.
Professor McGonagall rolls her eyes slightly as Dumbledore wields his wand. Consulting the parchment of lyrics placed beside their plates, Harry and his fellow first years join a rousing, but rather discordant chorus of voices.
Hogwarts.
Hogwarts,
Hoggy,
Hogwarts,
Hoggy,
Jesus
Jesus,
it's
going
out,
bring
bring
back
back
what
what we
we
forgot.
lost.
Do your best, we'll do the rest, and then till our brains are rot.
And learn until our brains are rot.
As the new Gryffindors follow Percy up the staircase, Harry stares in wonderment at the portraits on the walls. The people in them move.
This is the direct path to dormitory, except on Fridays, of course, when the staircases change.
As the staircase before them moves to the right, Percy waits briefly and then leads on without comment to a new corridor. Up ahead, Harry spies a bundle of walking sticks floating in midair. Without warning, the walking sticks come flying forth. As the first years duck and dodge, Percy sighs in annoyance.
Gryffindors, I give you Peeves, Hogwarts resident apologist.
Pop! A tiny translucent man with wicked eyes and a wide mouth appears, clutching the last walking stick. He is Peeves.
Woohoo! Eco-firsties. What fun!
With that, Peeves swoops off, wagging his tongue and bouncing a walking stick off Neville's head.
Rather a nuisance. Here we go.
At the end of the corridor hangs a portrait of a woman in a pink silk dress. She looks at Percy.
Password?
Puppet Draconis.
The portrait swings forward, revealing a round hole in the wall. Students all scramble through it into the center of a cozy round room filled with squashy armchairs. At the top of the spiral staircase are two doors.
Girls' dormitory to the left, boys to the right. You'll find your belongings have already been brought up. Any questions? No, not all. Oh, and don't forget, before retiring, please place all your living potion ingredients in your cupboards. This includes slugs, fire beetles, and cutworms. Sweet dreams, everyone.
Moonlight falls through the tower windows as Ron, Neville, and Seamus slumber. As we find Harry, he is sleeping too, but it is not restful. He twitches and turns. There's a flash of green. Then he awakens with a start and sits up, trembling. He glances about the room and slowly lies back down, eyes open. The next morning, the stairway bustles with students as Harry and Ron make their way. Clearly lost, Ron consults his timetable.
This is staircase 12 north. Which should take us to backward staircase 7. No, wait a minute. We're on backward staircase 7.
How many staircases are there?
142, though in the history of magic, the Thilda Backshot makes an attributed reference to 3 others.
Harry and Ron watch Hermione pass by, apparently holding every single first-year course book in her arms.
I hate her.
In class, students sit attentively, looking front at a cat. Its markings, particularly around the eyes, are somehow familiar. Harry and Ron burst in and glance around.
Phew, we made it, mate. Can you imagine old McGonagall's face if we were late first day out?
Hearing this, the cat narrows its eyes, leaps up, and transforms into old McGonagall herself. Ron's mouth drops open in amazement.
That was bloody brilliant.
Thank you for that assessment, Mr. Weasley, but perhaps it might be more useful if I transfigured Mr. Potter or yourself into a pocket watch. That way one of you may be on time.
Got lost.
Then perhaps a map. I trust you don't need one to find your seats.
Harry and Ron slink past Hermione and sit in the front row center.
Transfiguration is some of the most complex, dangerous, and valuable magic you will learn at Hogwarts. Use it skillfully and it may, one day, save your life. Make a mistake and you could find yourself with the toad's head and the monkey's tail. Alright then, shall we?
Harry and Ron exchange a glance and whip open their books. The next class, Professor Snape paces imperiously. Harry and the others sit in dead silence, eyes wandering to the pickled animals floating in glass jars along the cold stone walls.
There will be no foolish wand-waving or silly incantations in this class. As such, I don't expect many of you to appreciate the subtle science and exact art that is potion-making. However, for those select few who possess the predisposition, I can teach you how to bewitch the mind and ensnare the senses. I can tell you how to bottle fame, brew glory, even stop at death. Then again, maybe some of you come to Hogwarts in possession of abilities so formidable that you feel confident enough not to pay attention.
Harry blinks and realizes Snape is looking right at him.
Mr. Potter, our new celebrity. Tell me, what would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood?
Harry looks at a loss. Hermione's hand shoots into the air.
You don't know? Well, let's try again. Where, Mr. Potter, would you look if I told you to find me a Bezoar?
I don't know, sir.
Wolfsbane.
Harry sees Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle sniggering.
I don't know, sir.
Pity. Clearly fame isn't everything, is it, Mr. Potter?
Clearly Hermione knows. Seems a pity not to ask her.
Neville, Seamus, and a few other Gryffindors laugh.
Silence, and put down your hand, you silly girl.
Hermione wilts. Snape steps towards Harry, eyes glimmering.
For your information, Potter, asphodel and wormwood make a sleeping potion so powerful it's known as the draught of the living dead. A Bezoar is a stone taken from the stomach of a goat that will save you from most poisons. As for Monkshoot and Wolfsbane, they're the same plant, which also goes by the name of aconite. Well, why aren't you all copying this down?
The students scramble for their quills and parchments.
And Gryffindors, note that 5 points will be taken from your house for your classmate's cheek.
Harry stares glumly at the 4 hourglasses as precious gems drop away from Gryffindor and rise in Slytherins. Down the table, Seamus is muttering.
Eye of rabbit, harp, string, hum.
What's Seamus trying to do with that glass of water?
Turn it to rum. Actually managed a weak tea yesterday before it.
Poof! Blue flames shoot over the rim of the glass.
Two Nuts says he loses his eyebrows by week's end. Mail's here.
Dozens of owls circle the ceiling, then swoop down, dropping parcels from home. A copy of the Daily Prophet rolls onto the table near Harry.
Hey, look, Neville's got a member roll.
Neville holds a glass ball filled with white smoke. Slowly, the smoke begins to turn a deep scarlet.
I've read about those. If the smoke turns red, it means you've forgotten something.
Only problem is, I can't remember what I've forgotten.
Harry, Daily Prophet in hand, nudges Ron.
Hey, Ron. Somebody broke into Gringotts. Listen. Believed to be the work of dark wizards or witches unknown, Gringotts goblins, while acknowledging the breach, insist nothing was taken. The vault in question had in fact been emptied earlier that very same day. That's odd.
It's mad. Dad says there are dragons guarding some of the vaults.
No, it's just odd. That's the day Hagrid and I were there.
Later, outside, Harry stands in a cluster of Gryffindors across from Malfoy and his Slytherin cronies. Between them, there's a long line of broomsticks. Madam Hooch, a rangy witch with short grey hair and hawk-like eyes, stands between the two groups.
Welcome to your first flying lesson. Well, what are you all waiting for? Everyone, step up to the broomstick. Come now, hurry up.
Harry steps forward nervously and glances down. His broom is old, with twigs sticking out at odd angles.
Stick out your right hand over the broom and say up.
Shouts of "up" ring in the cold afternoon air. Though he barely whispers the command, Harry's broom snaps smartly into his hand. Hermione's simply rolls over, while Ron's flies up and cracks him in the nose.
Now, once you got hold of the broom, I want you to mount and grip it tight. We don't want you sliding off the end. Your other right hand, Mr. Finnegan. Goodness, boy, what have you done with your eyebrows?
Lost them, ma'am.
Excuse me, Madam Hooch. Given that a few of us have been on sticks for years, would it not make sense to separate the expert flyers from the neophytes?
Thank you, Mr. Malfoy, but I'm sure even an expert flyer such as yourself can appreciate the benefit of reacquainting oneself with the basics. Your grip, for example, it's thumb in, not out.
As Malfoy reddens, Harry and Ron share a grin.
Very well. Now, when I blow my whistle, I want each of you to kick off from the ground. Hard. Keep your broom steady. Hover for a moment, then lean forward. Slightly in touch back down. On my whistle. 3, 2.
Jumping the gun entirely, a nervous Neville shoots straight up into the air like a cork out of a bottle.
Mr. Whitebutton, exactly where you think you're going.
Clutching desperately to his broom, Neville caroms crazily off a tree, flops upside down, rockets past the other students who duck, then soars into a mad, spiraling climb.
Come down here this instant.
Neville's pale face peers down, his eyes roll up.
On your broomstick, Longbutton.
Too late. With a giant thud and a nasty crack, Neville hits the pitch. Madam Hooch and the Gryffindors rush over.
Broken wrist. Come on, dear. Up you get. Everyone to keep their feet on the ground, while I take Mr. Longbutton to the hospital wing. Understand? If I see a single broom in the air, the one riding will find himself out of Hogwarts before they can say Quidditch.
As they go, Harry watches Neville's broom sail high over Hagrid's house, where the giant himself sits in the front garden, watching with a pair of binoculars. Malfoy scoops up Neville's remembrall from the grass and cackles.
Did you see his face? Perhaps if the Great Lump had given this a squeeze, he would have remembered to fall on his fat arse.
Give it here, Malfoy.
No, I think I'll leave it somewhere for Longbottom to find. How about up a tree?
Malfoy slings his leg over his broom and kicks into the air.
What's the matter, Potter? A bit beyond your reach.
Harry glowers up at Malfoy and grabs his broom.
Harry, no! You heard what Madame Hooch said. Besides, you don't even know how to fly.
Harry shoots into the sky, so angry that it's a moment before he realizes what the others see. He's unnatural. Turning his broomstick sharply, he hovers, glaring at Malfoy.
Give it here, Malfoy. I'll knock you off that ruddy broom.
Oh.
Harry shoots forth like a javelin, Malfoy just managing to slip his charge. As Harry whips around, Malfoy glances down at the ground, clearly unnerved. Harry simply smiles.
Have it your way, then.
Malfoy hurls the ball high. As it plummets, Harry throws himself into a steep dive, rocketing recklessly downward, ignoring the earth as it rushes toward him. Extending his hands, and snatching the ball only feet from the ground. He lands, running and grinning as the Gryffindors cheer, but then
Harry Potter!
Harry's stomach drops. Malfoy grins hideously.
Chin up, Potter. They might let you stay on as Hagrid's assistant.
Harry trails silently after Professor McGonagall, who stops to lean in an adjacent classroom.
Excuse me, Professor Quirrell, could I borrow wood for a moment?
Startled, Professor Quirrell jumps, and Oliver Wood, a burly fifth year, emerges and glances curiously at Harry.
Potter, this is Oliver Wood. Wood, I found you a seeker.
Harry and Ron walk, buffeted by the stream of students headed for dinner. Hermione walks a few steps behind.
Seeker? But Freshers never make the house teams. You must be the youngest Quidditch player and...
Century, according to McGonagall.
Just then, Fred and George descend.
Harry, what's just told us?
Fred and George are on the team too. Beaters.
Our job is to make sure that you don't get bloodied up too bad. Can't make any promises, of course. Rough game, Quidditch.
Brutal. But no one's died in years. Someone will vanish occasionally.
But they turn up in a month or two.
As the twins dash off, Ron reads Harry's troubled face.
Oh, go on, Harry. Quidditch is great. Best game there is. And you'll be great too.
But I've never even played Quidditch. What if I make a fool of myself?
You won't make a fool of yourself. It's in your blood.
Hermione leads Harry and Ron to a display case. Inside is a history of Quidditch at Hogwarts, with ancient brooms, strange equipment, and various trophies. She points, and etched upon a silver tray below a Gryffindor lion, one name shines: James Potter, Seeker.
Harry, you didn't tell me your father was a seeker too.
I didn't know.
As Harry and Ron trail Hermione up the staircase, Ron whispers,
I'm telling you, it's spooky. She knows more about you than you do.
Who doesn't?
Just then, the staircase lurches beneath their feet and transports them to a very dark, very creepy corridor.
Does anybody feel like we shouldn't be here?
We're not supposed to be here. This is the 3rd floor. It's forbidden.
Why, though?
Because Dumbledore said so. Let's go.
They freeze. A cat sits watching them, eyes glittering in the dark. Then a shadow scales the wall.
Who goes there?
They turn and dash the opposite way. As they reach a door, Harry grabs the knob and twists. It's locked.
Lead me to them, my sweet.
That's it. We're done for.
Oh, move over. Alohomora.
Hermione gives her a wand a swish, and the door swings open. Harry and Ron stare incredulously.
Standard Book of Spells, Chapter 7.
As they fall inside, Hermione presses her ear to the door.
Chapter 7?
Shh! Filch is gone.
He probably thinks this door's locked.
It was locked.
And for good reason.
Hermione and Ron turn, and standing a foot away is a dog. Only this dog has 3 heads, 3 pairs of mad rolling eyes, and 3 sets of hideous yellow fangs dripping with saliva. As the dog roars, they tumble back outside, and Harry flings open the door just before the dog throws itself against it. They exchange a glance and dash off, back down to their common room. The Pink Lady frowns as they spill through and stand gasping.
What do they think they're doing, keeping a thing like that locked up in school?
You don't use your eyes, do you? Didn't you see what it was standing on?
I wasn't looking at its feet. I was a bit preoccupied with its head. Or maybe didn't notice. There was 3.
It was standing on a trap door, which means it's not there by accident. It's...
guarding something.
That's right. Now, if you two don't mind, I think I'll go to bed before either of you figures out another clever idea to get us killed. Or worse, expelled.
The next morning, Harry stands with Oliver Wood on the empty practice pitch.
Quidditch is easy enough, Dan. Each team has 7 players, 3 chasers, 2 repeaters, 1 keeper, and seeker. That's you. There are 3 kinds of balls. This one's called the quaffle. The chasers handle the quaffle and try to put it through one of 3 hoops. The keeper, that's me, defends the hoops. With me so far?
Harry nods and points to a wood crate rocking violently.
I think so. What's in there?
Here, take this.
Wood hands Harry a small club and kneels before the crate to unlatch a leather strap. Instantly, the black ball rockets into the sky, but without warning, plummets straight down right at Harry's head. Startled, Harry jumps aside and, purely on instinct, clubs it back into the crate.
Not bad, Potter. You'd make a fair beater. Go for now. It's coming back.
As the ball screams back to Earth, Wood grabs and crates it.
What was that?
Ledger. Nasty little buggers. But you're a seeker. The only ball I want you to worry about. This.
Wood takes out a tiny ball, the size of a walnut, bright gold, and it has little fluttering wings.
I like this ball.
You like it now. Just wait. It's wicked fast and damn near impossible to see.
What do I do with it?
Catch it. For the other team, Seeker. You catch this, the game is over. You catch this, Potter, we win.
The next class, Professor Flitwick, a very tiny, gnome-like wizard, stands on a pile of books as he oversees the class.
Now, don't forget the nice wrist movement we've been practicing. Swish and flick, swish and flick.
Harry, paired with Seamus, poses his wand over the feather before him and begins to swish and flick.
Wingardium Leviosa.
The feather flutters, but never leaves the table.
And enunciate. Never forget Wizard Barufio, who said S instead of Hef, and found himself on the floor with a buffalo on his chest.
Wingardium Leviosa!
Ron windmills his arms grandly, and nothing. Hermione frowns.
Honestly, you're going to take someone's eye out. Besides, you're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
You do it then if you're so clever.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Hermione swishes and flicks, and instantly her feather rises.
Oh, well done! Everyone see here. Miss Granger's done it.
Poof! Across the room, smoke curls between Seamus and Harry.
I think we're gonna need another feather over here, Professor.
After class, Harry and Ron cross the courtyard, and Ron mimics Hermione.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. Oh, she's a nightmare, honestly. No wonder she hasn't got any friends.
Just then, someone bumps into Harry. He turns and sees Hermione dash by, hugging her books, eyes glittering with tears.
I think she heard you.
That evening, candlelit pumpkins flicker throughout the hall, where thousands of live bats flutter overhead. Harry sits quietly, studying an empty chair, then sees Professor McGonagall standing across the way with Hagrid. Both are looking at him. McGonagall says something to Hagrid, who nods, and she steps forward to approach Harry.
How are you, Potter? All right.
Yes, Professor. Fine.
That is, we know, the members of the staff, that this is perhaps a difficult night for you, your parents.
Harry realizes what she's talking about, and he nods.
I'm alright, Professor.
Very well.
She turns and starts to go.
Professor. Thank you.
You're welcome, Pastor.
As she goes, Harry sees Ron glumly pushing his food around, listening to Neville speak across the empty chair to Seamus.
The body part said she wouldn't come out of the girls' bathroom, said she's been in there all afternoon, crying.
Just then, Professor Quirrell runs into the room and cries out,
Throw in the dungeon! Throw in the dungeon! So you ought to know.
Oh, he faints to the floor. There's a brief silence, and then utter pandemonium breaks out. Students shriek, bats screech, pop, pop, pop. All goes still. All eyes on Dumbledore, standing at the front with purple smoke trailing from his wand.
Everyone will please not panic. Prefix, lead your houses back to the dormitories. Teachers, follow me to the dungeons.
As they follow Percy up the stairs, Ron still looks glum.
How did a troll get in?
Not on its own. Trolls are really stupid. Probably Peeves playing jokes. What?
Hermione! She doesn't know!
Harry and Ron slip away from the Gryffindors, in with the Hufflepuffs, then down a deserted hallway. As footsteps ring out, they duck behind a stone griffin and see Snape hurry past.
That's the third floor he's going to. Teachers were supposed to go to the dungeons. What's that?
Smells like Fred's socks. Only worse.
Much worse. Lumbering toward them is a troll with an enormous club. As it comes into a patch of moonlight, it blinks stupidly, peers into a doorway, then slouches slowly inside. Harry studies a suit of armor beside the door and thinks.
Follow me.
Harry edges forward, pulls the sword from the suit of armor, and runs it through the door handle, trapping the troll.
Yes!
Harry grins, then hears a high, petrified scream.
This would be the girls' bathroom, would it?
A huge smile falls over Hermione's face as the troll advances directly toward her. She dashes into a stall and bolts the door, trembling. She peers upward and watches as the troll's face appears the top, looking in. Panicked, she drops to the floor and shimmies into the next stall, out of sight. Angered, the troll raises its club and smash shatters the stall Hermione just vacated. As wood rains down in jagged, splintered pieces, Harry and Ron rush in, staring in horror as the troll raises the club high and shatters the next stall. Hermione, still crawling, covers her head and peers back. Smash! The club comes thundering down yet again, this time just inches from her foot.
Don't worry, Hermione, we're here. She's dead.
I heard that.
What do we do?
Confuse it.
Confuse it? Hey, Bee-Brain!
Harry and Ron grab anything they can and begin to hurl it at the troll, but they might as well have been throwing marshmallows. As shards of wood bounce off its pint-sized head and great lumpy shoulders, the troll brings the club up once more and shatters the last stall. As Harry and Ron look on grimly, the troll jabs its club into the hash of wood before it, poking about for Hermione, when at the last second she scrambles out and dashes under the sink. Grunting furiously, the troll turns and begins to advance on her. Harry, thinking fast, rushes forward and leaps onto the troll's rising club, rising up, and then dropping down onto the troll's slimy neck. The troll blinks dimly, and before it can react, Harry, acting on instinct, shoves his wand right up the troll's nose. The troll roars in pain, dropping the club and stamping about. Ron watches helplessly, then glances at the club on the floor, an idea flickering across his face. Raising his wand, he speaks.
Wingardium Leviosa!
Harry swings around and sees Ron standing there, wand poised. It does not inspire confidence. Ron looks at Hermione, takes a breath, and this time employs the correct pronunciation.
Wingardium Leviosa!
With that, the club quivers upon the floor and begins to rise. The troll, still raging, grabs Harry's leg and peels him off his shoulders. As he holds Harry up high, suspended by one leg, Harry's world goes upside down, spinning, and he sees the club float by his face. The troll pauses, watching in confusion as the club rises toward the ceiling, hanging in magical suspension until thunk! It drops smack on the troll's head. Wobbling, the troll releases its grip on Harry's leg and drops him hard onto the floor. Harry peers up. The troll wobbles one last time and starts to fall directly on top of Harry. Quickly, he rolls away just before the troll slams to the floor inches away. All is quiet for a moment, and then Hermione steps forward.
Is it dead?
I don't think so. Just knocked out.
No need to kill it. After all,
Yes, well, that was big of you. Troll's not.
Harry extracts his wand and wipes it on the troll's trousers. A sudden volley of footsteps announces the arrival of Professors McGonagall, Snape, and a still queasy Quirrell. Harry notices a spot of blood on Snape's leg and sees Snape quickly shift his cloak to cover it.
Explain yourselves, both of you.
It's my fault, Professor McGonagall.
Granger?
I went looking for the troll. I've read about them and I thought I could handle it. But I was wrong. If Hannah Ron hadn't come along, I'd be dead.
Ron drops his wand, stunned by Hermione's lie.
I'm very disappointed in you, Miss Granger. 5 points will be taken from Gryffindor for your very serious lack of judgment. As for you, gentlemen, I hope you realize just how lucky you are. Not many first years could take on a full-grown mountain troll and live to tell the tale. I award each of you 5 points for sheer dumb luck.
Hermione walks silently beside Harry and Ron.
Good of her to get us out of trouble like that.
mind you, we did save her from a full-grown mountain troll.
Mind you, she might not have needed if we haven't locked the thing in with her.
Ron glances at Hermione and then away. And that concludes Chapter 3 of our audio play of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Before I forget, I'm so sorry, Jax. Jax also reprised their role of Dumbledore. So please, a round of applause for Jax and the entire crew.
Yay!
Well done, everyone. So proud of all of you. Did you guys enjoy it?
Marvelous job, everybody. Well done. I enjoyed thoroughly. What about everyone else?
I love
Really
that.
interesting reprising the role.
That's so good.
Thank you so much for the whole cast and crew. We are so impressed with all of you, and we couldn't have done it without you. So thank you very much, and thank you to everyone who came to listen, to come and support your friends. We do it all for you. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in Wholesome November. I think it was a huge success. And don't forget, today is the last day to submit your entries for the Comfort Food Cook-Off. So please head over to the Hogwarts Kitchen channel and show us what you can make. And it would also be a really fun opportunity for you guys to try out each other's recipes. Tomorrow, I have a very, very, very special announcement for anyone who has not been keeping up with my incessant advertising. I don't know how you could miss it, really. But your professors, Nish and Squee and myself, will be hosting a town hall meeting. And it's an opportunity for you to get to know a little bit from us about everything that goes on in the server. So please, if anyone has questions about anything, about the staff, about positions, about the channels, about events, anything at all, please, please, please send your questions to my DMs today. That way I can compile them and know what you guys want to hear about tomorrow. And that is going to be happening at 12 o'clock noon on Sunday. I really hope you guys can all make it. And that is it for today. Thank you guys so much.
Yay!
Thank you, Summer. Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks
thank
for having me back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed practicing with you all.
Me too.
Not to. Thank you.
My throat is dead.